where were you born?
I was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Okay. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up there? Or
No, I grew up about 20 miles from Belfast in a rural area called Hillsborough. Rural, beautiful farmland, about 20 miles from Belfast, not in the city.
how many people did you grow up with?
Well, my parents, and I had a brother and a sister, so there were 5 of us.
What is the major thing you remember about your hometown from growing up?
Okay, well, it wasn't a town, it was, as I say, beautiful farmland, rural area. What is the major thing? Just how quiet and peaceful and beautiful it was, I think, you know, very different from city life.
Did you prefer that from the city?
When I grew up, I preferred living in the city because it was more interesting and more exciting and more things to do. And country life became boring to me at that when I was younger. So.
What was school like?
That's a good question. I went to a Quaker school, high school, called Friends School, because Quakers are known as a community of friends. And it was a very strict school in terms of academic performance and behavior, but strict in a kind way. There was no corporal punishment or anything of that nature at a Quaker school, but very high, rigorous standards of in terms of academic achievement. I had some very good teachers and I had some really bad teachers. So some of it was tough and some of it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
What is the best memory of your childhood?
I was very close to my dad, to my father, when I was a little girl growing up, and he was a country doctor. And one of my best memories and most cherished memories is of going out with him, visiting his patients. I would go out in the car with him as he would go and visit his patients in their different homes. And all our chats and conversations that we had in the car, driving from one patient's home to another. That's one of my best memories of early childhood. Yeah.
When did you decide to leave Ireland?
Well, I decided to leave Northern Ireland in early 1970s, 1970, 71, long time ago. Yeah.
What were some reasons of your leaving?
My primary reason was because I had married someone who was not from there. I married a man from West Africa, from a country called Ghana, and I left in order to go and live there with him. So I left to be with my first husband at that time.
What were some difficulties of your immigration?
When I first left Northern Ireland and went to that country, not to this country, went to that first country, some of the difficulties were just adjusting to a very different culture and different climate, different food, just a very different, everything was completely different from what I had known and grown up with, and just accepting that and adjusting to that and learning to deal with that. Some of that was very difficult.
Did your family support your decision to leave?
Yes, they did. They understood why I left. They did. They didn't support it entirely, but they understood it, yes. Mm-hmm.
What made you want to come to Southern California?
Well, after I left Ghana, where I had lived for 3 years, I came to the United States with my first husband, and we lived in Northern California for a while, and then his work brought him to Southern California, and I came with him. So that's primarily what brought us to the Los Angeles area.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some things that you miss from Ireland that isn't here?
Oh, I miss the changing seasons. I miss the fall and the spring. Um, in the summertime, I miss the long evenings when it's light until 11:30 at night. It's funny. And I miss family, of course, and I miss just, the familiarity of my original home, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Would you ever move back to Ireland permanently?
No, I wouldn't. No. This is home for me now. I've lived here long enough that this is home.
Why wouldn't you move back?
Because I've become accustomed to not living there anymore, and it would feel strange. It would feel like moving back, stepping back in time rather than stepping forward. And this is home. I've lived here. I've lived here longer than I lived in Ireland. So, yeah, I've lived here since the 70s, really. You know, yeah. So, this is home.
If you could change one event in your lifetime, what would it be?
I think that's a tough question. I think I would study harder at university and try and get a better degree, actually.
What university did you go to?
I went to Queen's University in Belfast. Graduated in French and German languages. Yeah. And I did okay, but I didn't do as well as I could have done because I didn't study hard enough. So I think that's the one thing that I would change.
What do you think would be different if you studied harder?
Oh, well, I would understand the world better. I would understand myself better. I may have gotten a better job here, although I had a very good job when I was in this country. I got very lucky. Just be a more fulfilled, more rounded person with a better education. Yeah.
What was the first job you got when you came here?
Good question. I was a receptionist at an insurance company. It's true. It's not the last job I had, but it was the first one.
And what was your last job?
My last job was with Getty Images. I worked in sales at a company called Getty Images, selling and promoting footage and photography for the production industry and entertainment industry. Yeah.
Did your family back home ever try to convince you to move back?
No, they didn't. No, they understood my life was here, and they supported me in that. And when I became a citizen of the United States, they supported me in that as well, and that made everyone realize I was never going to go back and live there again.
What do you have now that you couldn't have had if you were to stay in that?
Oh, maybe a broader view of the world. Northern Ireland is a small country and a little provincial, perhaps. I don't mean to be critical, but maybe a wider, broader perspective of the whole world, living in Southern California with the many different people who live here, people of different backgrounds, different ethnicity, different cultural heritage. I like that. I enjoy that, as opposed to living in a rather sort of small country that kind of looks inward a little bit more than looking outward.
And what has changed about your hometown from the time you moved here to the last time you visited?
Oh, more traffic, more houses, more people, more cars. So not unlike here. Yeah, I would say that primarily. Yeah, busier.
Busier.
Yeah, more congested. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it? Is that the end of our conversation? Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for asking me. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for letting me interview you.
My pleasure.